Shalom, Brother Aaron, Ray Regime of Yahushua. And first and foremost, I want to say, call Haloi Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Rakakadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father in the name of His only begotten Son, through the Holy Spirit. Also want to give double honors to the elders and leaders of the nation of Israel who push and teach this truth and sincerity. I also want to say shalom to the 1/3, that great multitude, men, women, and children who believe wholeheartedly on the scriptures. I want to say shalom to you. I titled this lesson, Give No One the Preeminence Over You. Okay, give no one the preeminence over you. All right, and let me start off. Let's get the definition of preeminence so we can be clear on what we're speaking of. Okay, preeminence. It says, let's see, superiority, supremacy, greatness, excellence, distinction, prominence, predominance, eminence. So in other words, give nobody or no man or woman preeminence over you. That dominance, talking about putting a person on a pedestal. Okay, nobody is supposed to be in your eyes. You're not supposed to put no human on a like a superior status over you in your mind. That's preserved for one person and one person only. We're gonna see that's the Most High. Okay, the Most High Son Yahweh Shah. That's the only being that you ever give preeminence over you. Okay, anytime you look at a flesh and blood individual as preeminence, or you give somebody that power and authority over you, okay, it's a form of idolatry. You basically idolizing that person to the point to where you could be totally controlled and manipulated, okay, which ultimately will lead to destruction. Okay, the Lord, as we're going to see, say He's a jealous God. So give no one the preeminence over you. That solely belongs to the Lord. All right, let's open up with a few scriptures. Let's get Exodus 34:14. For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord whose name is jealous is a jealous God. All right. Exodus 20:2. Let me start at 1. And Yahweh spake all these sayings, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. See that? Let's get Matthew 4:10. Then said Yahweh Shah unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and Him only shalt thou serve. All right, so that level of worship is only reserved for the Most High and Him alone. When you give someone the predominance over you, that's basically your idol, so you become a servant to this person. All right, let me get one more. We just built it. Colossians 1:16. By Him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether there be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by Him and for Him. And He is before all things, and by Him all things consist. And He is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things He may have the preeminence. See, this is talking about Yahweh Shah. So Yahweh Shah, okay, is the only one who we give preeminence over us, that total superior status, only one that we put on a pedestal. There's other many precepts that lets us know what all fall short. Okay, all of our righteousness is filthy rags. So a person can never have the preeminence over another person. All right, let me get Proverbs 31:1. Verse 3, actually, Proverbs 31:3. Give not thy strength unto a woman, nor thy ways to that which destroyed kings. All right. Now let's deal with this word strength, because the Bible is telling, especially as men, we have to understand that the Lord has an order as far as us men. Okay, he says, give not thy strength unto a woman, nor thy ways to that which destroy kings. So we want to go to our blue letter, look up this word strength. Okay, so when it says strength, might, efficiency, wealth, army, strength, ability, efficiency, wealth, force, army. Okay, so your strength, your ability, or your wealth. Okay, now wealth can come in the form of your mind, your wisdom, or also what financial status. But nonetheless, you don't totally give your mind, your strength, whatever that strength may be in, you don't give that better part to you over to somebody completely, is what it's saying. All right, let's go back. I'm going to read it one more time. Give not thy strength unto a woman, nor thy ways into that which destroy kings. All right. Sirach 9 and 2. It says, give not thy soul unto a woman to set her foot up on thy substance. Okay, so that substance could be whatever it is in you. That could be things you own, you possess, or your substance could be your energy, the better part of you, your mind, your soul, your mind, will, and emotions. Okay, somebody that has preeminence over you can totally crush, break your spirit. All right. Sirach 33 and 19. Give not thy son and wife, thy brother and thy friend power over thee while thou livest, and give not thy goods unto another, lest it repenteth thee, and thou entreat for the same again. As long as thou livest, and thou breathe, and thou have breath in thee, give not thyself over to any. See that? For better it is that thy children should seek to thee than thou shouldest stand to their courtesy. All right. Better it is, same way as a man or as the visual. OK, your kids or someone depend on you better than what you to be subjugated to them. And how do you become enslaved or subjugated to someone? By what? Turning, giving them the preeminence, turning over your strength, all your ability. OK, making that person your idol without even realizing it. OK, the Bible is solely against that. OK, many, as we read other scriptures, it talks about what many great men, many kings has fallen to such. All right. I got a couple videos. I want to get an example.
Well, what, Gabby?
I'm going to play this one right here. This is somebody, this guy made this woman, he gave her preeminence over here. Look at the result of what could come from this.
Why are you breaking this like this?
Now,
why are you doing this?
Oh, for real?
Can you please leave me alone?
Why am I breaking this?
Can you please let me close the door? Can you stop?
For real, Rosie?
Why are you doing this? I've asked you numerous times to stop.
Because you feel for your safety, right?
Because I want you to stop.
Now you're setting me up, right?
No.
All right. I'm going to play that back one more time. But basically, this is the kind of that video that inspired me to do this lesson. But this is a perfect example of someone who makes, when you give preeminence or put somebody on a pedestal, you give somebody that much power or control over you. And see, I was reading the comments and it kind of hit me a certain way, because as men, that's what we got to realize. Okay, as men, you can't afford to. We have to be men according to the Bible. Be led of the Spirit and use logic, because a woman could kind of get a pass. A woman have a nervous breakdown, she spaz or crash out. People kind of come to the aid. What was wrong? Okay, they automatically take a look at her more from a victim perspective. But when a dude do this, okay, oftentimes you either end up in one or two places: a cemetery or locked up somewhere. And even when I was reading the comments, I mean, you'd be surprised, almost every comment just going in on the brother. Going in. I don't know what the situation is, but it's pretty much laughing, mocking, and it just show you, okay, we have to be men according to the way the Bible told us. So let me back it up one more time.
Why are you breaking this like this?
Now,
Why are you doing this?
oh, for real?
Can you please leave me alone?
Why am I breaking this?
Can you
like
please let me close the door? Can you stop?
this? For real, Rosie?
Why are you doing this? I've asked you numerous times to stop.
Because you feel for your safety, right?
Because I want you to stop.
Now you're setting me up, right?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna play another one real quick.
I don't know how you can say that. Like, I feel like I've done everything like the guy's supposed to do.
You've done what you need to do. I get, like, you're a great boyfriend, but just not a great boyfriend for me. And you'll make somebody very happy one day, but it's just not me.
I don't know what I did. If you want to start going out, like more places so we can do that. If you want me to go, whatever you want me to do, I can do that.
You're making this so hard. You're making this so hard. I just want to get my stuff and go.
Okay, so basically his manhood is gone right there. Even if that woman decided to stay with him, he broke that. That's why she'll never look at him the same or respect him. All right. So let me get a couple scriptures, because this go a long way in life. Okay. Even though it may seem some trivial or breakup or something like that, but the Lord is about building men, building character. All right. So I want to play. Let me grab. What is that? 1 Kings 2:2. It says, "Go thy way in all the earth, and be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man." Okay, a man, okay, in righteousness, but also in character. A man has courage. If you look at the majority of our men that's being raised today, okay, they're being raised with the spirit of a woman. A lot of single mother households raising our young men, and this is why they're crashing out and so feminine and spazzing out. So, man, you can't be emotional like that as a man. Like I said earlier, you letting the spirit take over you, like that demon jumped on that brother. The first video we saw where he broke the door down and all of that. Okay. He opened himself up to that by what? Apparently he had to get that woman some type of preeminence over. Okay. That was his idol, to the point to where she could totally control him. Okay. Just like I was reading the comments, some people, she put a love spell on her, love spell gone wrong. Okay. Well, love spell or not, the only way that could have worked is of what? He had to allow her to have some type of preeminence over him. See? And obviously, what is she doing? Sitting back recording it. All right. Let me get another precept. Job 38:3. "Gird up now thy loins like a man, and I will demand of thee, and answer thou me." So gird up your loins, just like in battle. Man, go to war in ancient times. Your loins, it's your private area. They have like a guard around there, a girt belt, but also spiritually. Okay, that's kind of like a reference or a cliche when you're telling somebody to man up. Okay, gird up your loins. We do that as men. We gird up our loins through the spirit by having the order, operating in the spirit of the Lord, the order that the Lord told us to. And the order is what? We only give the Lord preeminence over us. See, and not just women. It could be another man. I say women because in this society, that's just what it is. Unfortunately, is men has been put in a subservient position, especially in so-called black communities. The Bible tells us that's a curse. Okay, women and children should rule over them. So it's not until we come back into our identity in Yahweh Shah through the Spirit as Israelites, and we actually start applying these scriptures to our life. That's okay when we get our loins back. Okay, that's when we stand up in the Spirit as man. That's when we get our households back in order. Okay, but just life in general. Okay, it could be a job, it could be a career, it could be anybody. You give nothing that preeminence over you, because anything that you give preeminence to that can make you, then guess what? That same thing can break you. Okay, Yahweh Shai said each man falls and stands to his creator. The Lord is the only one that should be able to build us up like that or tear us down. No individual. All right. Let's see. Let's get 1 Ezra 4:26. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women, and become servants for their sake. Many also have perished and have erred in sin for women. Okay, so verse 26, many there be that have run out of their wits for women, basically lost their mind. Just like the brother you saw in the first video, that breaking down the door. Okay, and that's what happens when you give somebody the preeminence over you, that type of power. Those are those stories you hear about oftentimes. Okay, somebody something don't go their way, or they get a heart broke or something, and they shoot the person, shoot themselves, the family, the dog, everybody involved. Well, that's how that comes about. That spirit totally overtakes them because what? They gave that person preeminence over them. All right. And speaking of, I think I had one more video about that. One moment. Let me play this one.
Was sentenced for murdering her, the victim recording every haunting moment. In that video, a key piece of evidence in the killer sentencing trial.
Well, as you know, jaws dropped in our newsroom when we saw it. And ABC 13's Alex Bozarchian joins us now with another big part of this case. The jury was made up entirely of women, Alex.
That's right, Eric. It was an all-female jury, which is rare but can happen. You're not allowed to strike down a juror on the basis of sex or race, so that's how it shook out here. The overwhelming evidence here was a video of the murder. Despite that, they sentenced Carrie Birmingham to 10 years in prison. The maximum would have been 20.
All right, goodbye, Reese. I'll see you. You gonna meet Jesus.
Those were Carrie Birmingham's last words to his wife, Patricia, before he killed her with his shotgun outside their home in Spring. In the video, you can hear he fired 3 times. This all going down while their teenage daughter, Olivia, was at school.
I lost both my parents that day. My dad died that day too. Because the person who did that to my mom and my father aren't the same person.
Patricia and Carrie had roughly a 30-minute argument leading up to the shooting.
You really want this on video?
I'll pull it. Man, just pull it.
Audio we obtained of several minutes prior to the video became a large part of Carrie's crime of passion defense.
I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done too.
Carrie had allegedly learned Patricia was having an affair. The two's argument getting more and more heated.
Don't blame him.
Yeah.
Carrie's defense attorney, Anthony Osso, says they pled guilty directly to the all-female jury. He says their strategy was to accept responsibility, but convince jurors Carrie shot Patricia in the heat of the moment.
We never tried to justify the actions of our client, but the defense wasn't about justification. It was about why he did what he did.
Olivia finds her father's defense questionable at best.
I don't know. It's sudden passion. You have to have something, you have to have made that decision within you for a while. I feel like
to do that to somebody you really, really love. Carrie was given a 10-year sentence with the possibility of parole after 5. Olivia says in court she spoke to her father and gave us a summary of her victim impact statement.
That no matter what was said in this trial, you know the type of woman she was. You know who she was, and you know what you did, and how he took away my favorite person in this world.
Olivia testified that she never witnessed her father physically abusing her mom, but she wanted to raise awareness that there are different types of abuse she experienced, including emotional and financial. She says while she still loves her father, she can...
Okay, and you hear stories like that all the time, but the point we're making, okay, if this is what happens when we understand, okay, anybody not try to make it sound like, okay, people don't go through emotional things or certain things or spirit of depression. Things happen, but at the same time, that's the difference. That's why the Lord gave us what you don't. Only the Lord has a certain status that he's reserved for. You look at him as God, okay, and everybody else, flesh and blood, okay, you have to understand that's just what it is. But only things like that can only happen when somebody gives somebody the preeminence. You put somebody on that type of pedestal to where that basically without even realizing it, that's become your God to get you to react, to throw your life away or throw somebody else's life away plus yours. That means what you've pretty much turned over your life to that person. That person has total preeminence over you. Okay, and as many, we're going to get a couple examples in the scripture. It started, for example, you go back to the Garden of Eden. Okay, Adam actually gave Eve a preeminence over him, okay, which sparked what? The whole downfall of humanity to this day. Let me get that precept, Genesis 3 and 6. Genesis, 3 and 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes and the tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. All right. So he listened to his wife and ended up eating, doing something that the Lord clearly told him not to do. Okay. The Lord clearly told us what? Give not thy strength to a woman. Don't give nobody the preeminence over you, whether it's a brother. What did we read it in? I believe Sirach 33:19. Whether it's brother, son, wife, whoever, you give nobody that power over you. Anytime you go against the Lord for somebody else's instructions over the instructions of the Lord, you turning your preeminence over to that person. Look at verse 7. Let me see. Verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life. See? So because you listened to your wife's voice, you gave her the preeminence over what? Listening to the Lord. You took somebody else's instructions or advice over the Lord. This is what happens. See, we could get more examples too. Let's get what's another one? Let's look at Samson. What is that? Judges 16:15. And she said unto him, how canst thou say that I love thee when thy heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times and hast not told me wherein thy great strength lied. So she was trying to find Solomon's secret. Okay, something that only he knew where his strength lay. Okay, going back, remember the precept we read, Proverbs 31:3. Give not thy strength unto a woman. This is a perfect example of this in Samson. Look at verse 16. And it came to pass when she pressed him daily with her words and urged him so that his soul was vexed unto death. Okay, so she's stressing him, she's vexing him. She keep pressing him Samson, what's the secret? Where does your strength lie? Where does your strength lie? Verse 17. He told her all his heart and said unto her, there had not come a razor up on my head, for I've been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall be weak and be like any other man. And Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart. See that? And she sent and called unto the lords of the Philistines, saying, come up this once, for he has showed me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came unto her and brought money in her hand. She made him sleep up on her knees, and she called for the men, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head, and she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. And she said, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep and said, I will go out as the other times before and shake myself. And he wist not that the Lord had departed from him. But the Philistines took him and put out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with fetters and brass. And he did grind in the prison house. Okay, so because he gave over what? His strength, his secrets, the thing that was most important. Okay, he revealed that unto her. What? That was his downfall. Okay, so what is the same message to us today, especially as men? Okay, that strength, our strength as a man, our order is the Lord. Anytime we go against the Lord and you compromise, whether it be for anybody, okay, but I use women more so because for the most part, most men's kryptonite is in the form of a woman. Okay, just like the Bible say. Let me get this precept, Proverbs 7:25. It says, let me start at, I'm going to start at 21. And by the way, Proverbs 7 chapter could be talking about a false doctrine, okay? False philosophy, false doctrine is talking about a woman, or it could be talking about a literal woman with a horrid spirit. In this case, the purpose for this lesson is talking about a literal woman. All right, so verse 21, with her fair speech, she caused him to yield. With the flattering of her lips, she forced him. Just like we read the example with Delilah. She kept pressing him. What's your secret? What's your deep? Tell me everything. What's your heart's desire? All these things. What's the secret to your great strength? Verse 22. He goeth after her straightway, as an ox goeth to the slaughter, or as a fool to the correction of the stock, till a dart strike through his liver, as a bird hasted to the stair, and knoweth not that it is for his life. Hearken unto me now, therefore, O ye children, and attend unto the words of my mouth. Let not thy heart decline into her ways. Go not astray from in her paths. For she had cast down many wounded. Yea, many strong men have been slain by her. For her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. So when it say many strong men have been slain for her, who was stronger than Samson? That's a perfect example of that. Strongest man ever walked the face of the earth, but basically you could say he was slayed by a woman. Now we know ultimately at the end, the Lord raised him back up at the very end so he could kill the Philistines. But nonetheless, his downfall was giving his strength over to a woman. You see, and you see men doing this every single day. Okay, that's what we call them simps. But even it don't have to be a simp. Anytime it could be your own wife. If you give her the preeminence over the Lord, okay, ultimately that's going to be your downfall. Okay, the Lord is that first order. Let me get that, then I'm going to get some more examples when it says, she verse 26, for she had cast down many wounded, yea, many strong men have been slain by her. Okay, so I want to get more examples of strong men that's been slain from giving their strength over to a woman. Let me get the order first. I meant to get this earlier. 1 Corinthians 11:3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahushua is Yahweh. See that? So that's the order. Only person that should have a preeminence over you as a man is Yahushua. All right, that's it. Anytime you put a person on a pedestal, okay, especially when it's in the form of a woman, because that's a man's natural weakness, okay, that's going to be your downfall. All right, let's get some other examples of strong men that were slayed by women. Let's get 1 Kings 11:1. Now, we looked at the physically strongest man ever lived, okay, that was brought down by a woman. Now we looking at one of the wisest men to ever live, King Solomon. Okay, now we're going to see, let's see what his downfall was. 1 Kings 11:1, but King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, the Amorites, the Edomites, the Zebulunites, the Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Lord had said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go unto them, neither shall they come unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon cleaved into these in love. And he had 700 wives, princes, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. See that? So all of these strange women, these wives, these concubines that King Solomon was dealing with, when he got older in life, he allowed these women to cause him to go astray. He ended up worshiping their gods. And you know how that most likely happened. Okay, it wasn't just overnight. He's sleeping with most of these women. These his wives, these his concubines. Okay, so what? Probably through love, through sex, he gets weak. He opens up and you start to compromise. See? Probably all he say he had Moabites, little Chinese women, wives, Edomites, white women, all these different nations. Probably, you know how I go what's your God? What you over there worshiping? He probably liking them physically, and he know better. No, not to deal with their gods, but that's what happens. You end up compromising when you give somebody else the preeminence, the dominance over you. See? And it led into what? King Solomon fall at his old age. Wisest man ever lived next to Yahushua, but once again, it's showing you what his downfall was. He gave his preeminence over to women. Let's look at another example. Let's get actually King David to a certain degree. Let's go there. What is that? 2 Samuel? 2 Samuel 11 chapter 11:2. And it came to pass in the evening time that David arose from off his bed and walked up on the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself. And the woman was very beautiful to look up on. Okay, now you keep reading, the whole story is good, but David went on the rooftop. He could see from his house, he seen this woman, Bathsheba, she taking a bath on the rooftop. Okay, so of course she's a married woman. He called his men, hey, go bring her to me. End up laying with her, committing adultery or whatever. And of course he repented. The Lord forgave him of it. But nonetheless, what is this showing you? Okay, he ended up falling or turning over his preeminence to a woman where he got weak. Okay, he got weak and ended up compromising. See? And that's why the Bible warns us about this, especially as men. As we read earlier, what she calls many great men has been slain by her. And if you think about it, that go from Adam to King Solomon. David stumbled right here over a woman. See, so it's showing you it's no joke. Okay, a lot of men in our everyday life been through this, so you know it's real. So we have to, as men, we have to keep our superpower. See, a lot of times a woman's power is her beauty, her virtue and her beauty. And women of this world, if she's a wicked woman, she uses that to seduce men. Okay, through her body, her allure, her look. Okay, a woman is an expert at that. Okay, and she will use that to her full advantage to get exactly what she wants from you as a man. Okay, it's not until she truly repents or the Lord wakes her up into who she is, a virtuous woman, Israelite woman, and she walk in the spirit of the Lord. And even then, That's a battle. That's like the biggest battle for a woman. Okay, constant manipulation, trying to fight off that flesh, that spirit of manipulation and deceit. Okay, so the only power we have against that is walking in the spirit. I don't care how mighty or strong of a man you think you are. If you don't walk in the spirit, you will succumb to that. You will end up giving to a certain degree. You're going to turn over your preeminence to that woman, and it's going to cause you to go astray. All right. So as men, we have to gird up our loins and constantly stay in the spirit. Let me see. I think I had one more example of that too. Who was it? Judah and Tamar. Genesis 38. I ain't gonna read all of this, but anyway, Judah and Tamar. I'll break it down. I just kind of give a preview, but basically Tamar was supposed to be espoused to one of Judah's sons, okay, but Tamar kind of had his first son, he got with her and he ended up passing away. The second son, Org, I believe was his name, he got with her, he ended up dying. So Tamar had a bad stigma that basically every man that get with her passes away or die. So Judah's next son in line, he was fearful of that. So he was like, no, he kind of held off. When it was time for him to marry her, he held off because he like, well, wait, every man before her, my other two sons got with her, they both died. Okay, so what ended up happening, long story short, she disguised herself like a harlot. So one day Judah is going to walk, he see her. So he, get with us. Hey, wait, let me lay with you or whatever. He didn't have any money to pay her right away. So he promised to say, well, she said, what are you going to give me in exchange? Until you can pay me, you got to let me hold something, like something on credit. He ended up giving her his staff and his ring. Okay, now that says a lot. The staff represents your authority. The authority and dominance he had as a righteous man in his household and everything that he was known for. He ended up giving her that staff and his ring. Your ring is like a seal or your word. Okay, so he turned over them two things to her. So when it came to pass that, okay, she came up pregnant and the men came to him and said, hey, Tamar be pregnant out of whoredom. No husband, she just popped up pregnant. Okay, well, against Israelite law, he say, well, hey, bring her here. She need to be burnt because that's the law. But she pretty much said, well, when they said, well, who's responsible for getting her pregnant? She said that basically the man who's this is, she still had his ring and she had his staff. She said, whoever this belongs to, this ring and staff, this is the man responsible for getting me pregnant. Then he realized, he said, wait a minute, she had been more righteous than me. See, hold on, I'm trying to see if I can find the main point. Let me read 24 real quick. I'm going to start at verse 24. And it came to pass about 3 months after it was told, Judah said, Tamar, thy daughter-in-law played the harlot. And also, behold, she with child by whoredom. And Judah said, bring her forth, let her be burnt. When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, by the man whose these are, am I with child? And she said, discern, I pray thee, whose are these? The signet, the bracelet, and the staff. And Judah acknowledged them and said, she had been more righteous. She had been more righteous than I, because that I gave her unto Seth my son, and he knew her again no more. See? So even Judah, you go on and on throughout these scriptures, you're going to see that's a common denominator. Okay, a lot of our most powerful men, even up until this day, okay, they're not careful. When you turn over your preeminence of strength to a woman, that's going to be your downfall. Okay, everything has a perfect order. And as a man that Lord, we just read it, 1 Corinthians 11:3, nothing could take preeminence over the Lord in our life as men. All right, let me see. Let me get a couple more scriptures. Let's go back to, let's get Sirach 9:2. It says, give not thy soul unto a woman to sit her foot up on thy substance. And your substance, once again, that could be your mind, your strength, but also what? Things you personally own or have. You don't just turn over your substance to anybody. Verse 3, meet not with a harlot, lest thou fall by her snares. Use not much company of a woman that is a singer, lest thou be taken with her attempts. Gaze not upon a maid, that thou fall not by those things that are precious into her. Gaze mean look not up on a maid and those things that are precious in her, as a man, what makes her beautiful oftentimes, a physical appearance, okay, whether it be breasts, hips, thighs, ass, a pretty smile, okay, you have to really guard your mind against such things, because like we say, the average woman in the world understands that. She understands the power that she has over a man just by using her beauty or her body. All right. Look, verse 7, look not around about thee in the streets of the city, neither wander thou in the solitary place thereof. Turn away thy eye from a beautiful woman, and look not up on another's beauty, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. For whereby love is kindled as a fire. See that? Many has been deceived. Let's get Proverbs 5 and 7. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove thy way far from her, and come not near the door of a house, lest thou give thy honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel. Lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger, and thou mourn at the least when thy flesh and thy body are consumed. So verse 10, when it say, let strangers be filled with thy wealth and thy labors in the house of a stranger. This happens to men every day too. A lot of men allow that physical allure, the beauty of a woman, to make them stumble, they turn over their preeminence. Okay, get a taste of, they hit it a couple times, if a JJ, whatever, and they just, like we read earlier, they lose their mind. They end up turning over their substance, not thinking rationally and everything, being totally manipulated because they turned over their preeminence. All right. And I got one more video on that.
The public image doesn't look good. You're a 6 foot something.
One moment. All right. This is my last video right here. I want to play on that.
You got these young players, and they saying they're getting preyed upon by some of these older women. You got Jalen Green, Houston, Drea. Right. You got, I think, Jalen Brown. But was that happening back in your day?
Why would you want to say that to me? For me, of course, I have an older baby mom, so it definitely happened back in the day. So I'm not going to sit here and criticize without taking some criticism myself. I didn't update an older woman that was 15, 16 years older than me when I was 21. So I understand it to a certain degree. It's one of those situations where you just got to be smarter. If it's not a relationship that you feel like is going to last a long time, you got to be smarter. But it happens. It's a part of life. It's some older women that look good. You're 21, sometimes you want an older woman, right? So that's a tough question to ask me to put me on. So I got to, because I made that mistake, and I don't necessarily call it a mistake, but I dated an older woman at a younger age. So I have to, take that criticism that comes along with that.
Okay, and that also happens every day too. Okay, you got people, the athletes. So you say, you ain't got to be an athlete. It happened to the everyday 9 to 5 man. Okay, you can have a job, your pension, 401k, whatever. You get caught up giving over your preeminence. Okay, get with the wrong woman because you didn't use wisdom. You picked according to lust and not wisdom. And you end up getting took for everything or the little bit you do have. See that? Few more precepts we're going to close out. Let's get Tobit in our Parker for Tobit 8 and 7. Say, as men, we have to move according to wisdom. And wisdom is not giving no one preeminence over you. Now this is going into marriage, Tobit's marriage. Look at verse 6. Thou madest Adam and gavest him Eve, his wife, for an helper and stay. And of them came mankind. Thou hast said, it is not good that man should be alone. Let us make unto him an aid like unto himself. And now, Lord, I take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly. Therefore, mercifully obtain that we may be aged together. So Tobit understood this. He said, I take not my wife for lust. Okay, he didn't go according to his eyes. He didn't allow that to deceive him. He understood wisdom. Okay, just because it looks good on the outside all the time don't mean it's the right decision. All right. Proverbs 6:23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproof and instructions are the way of life. So the word is what guides us. This is how we know to be wise, and this is the light. Look at verse 24. To keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattering tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thy heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whore's woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and an adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Okay, that's going into like that last video. Okay, prayed up offer. Young man, 20-some years old, woman 40, but at the same time, what? She know his weakness. She's able to allure him. So, oh, you got $1 million or $100 million contract? Let me get that. See that? Yahweh Shai warned us about it too. Let's go to Matthew 10:27. Let me see. Let me see. Might be Matthew 5. Okay, yeah, look. Matthew 5:27. But ye have heard that it was said by them of old, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her, and committed adultery already with her in his heart, in your mind. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. For it is proper for thee that one of thy members should perish, and that thy whole body should not be cast into hell. And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee. For it is proper for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. Meaning, stop it. What's ever causing you to sin, what's ever causing you to what? If simp, give your preeminence, your energy over to somebody else. Especially in terms of this lesson. We're talking about giving your strength or your preeminence over to somebody. Stop it. If your eyes is telling you to do that, be more disciplined with your eyes. Okay? Be led by the Spirit. We walk by faith, not by sight. Okay? Think with your spiritual head, not the other head. You know? Be led according to the Spirit. Because if not, that's what's going to end up happening every time. All right? You could be a regular, just an everyday scenario. That's the only thing, if you want to be honest, that's what separates a righteous man from just any old regular nigga. Okay? It's not, a man is a man, period. As you see in the scriptures, our forefathers, King David, King Solomon, no matter how damn righteous they are, he's still a man. He still love women. He still got the same weakness as any other man in the flesh. The only thing that separates the two is what? The righteous man, what? We're going to be led according to the Spirit. We're going to follow after the Spirit. We're going to allow the Spirit to take the preeminence over us rather than what? The flesh overriding us. The nigga or the worldly man is like his animal instinct. He going to go according to his flesh because he don't have the correction or the Spirit of the Lord. And even as we see in the scriptures, you could be a righteous man, but if you allow the flesh to take over your spirit, see, you're still going to go astray. So that's the battle. This is what we're showing you. Give not the preeminence. How do you do that? By what? We stay in the Spirit. Give the Lord that preeminence over you at every time. Then it don't matter how much powerful, how much sorcery, how beautiful, whatever a person may be. That's how you stay balanced. That's our superpower as men. Nothing can come your way or harm you or overpower you, what? If the Lord have preeminence over you, mean what? You're obedient to the Spirit. All right. Let me get one or two more precepts. We're gonna close out. Romans, what is that? 8:14, I think. For as many are led by the Spirit of Yahweh, these are sons of Yahweh. See that? That's the difference between a righteous man who had the Lord has preeminence over him than a worldly man and everybody else. Okay, we're going to allow the Spirit to lead us and have the preeminence. But whenever, the second you don't allow the Spirit to lead or have that preeminence, we seen examples in this lesson. Just like what makes you think you or I is better than King David? What makes you think you or I is better than King Solomon or Samson, any of the Judah, any of these righteous men we read about that stumbled over? We not. Okay? Only even when we read these shortcomings of the men we read in here, why did they fall short? What? They yield to the flesh. They gave what? Somebody, specifically a woman, that preeminence of power over them. See? Let's see. So I think that's about it. So yeah, that's the point. Okay, as men or whatever, we have to walk discipline. Okay, the Lord is the only one who has that type of power or preeminence over us. Let me get one more precept just came to my spirit. I think it's Malachi 7:5. Oh, Malachi, let me see, Micah 7:5. It says, trust not a friend, put not confidence in a guide. Keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lied in thy bosom. So that's even going into your own wife. When it said, keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lied in thy bosom. Remember Samson. Okay? All these examples, there's a certain level that's only reserved for the Lord. That's only reserved to the Most High. See? That's our first love as a man. That has to be your first love. It's a form of intimacy, or as a man, just like breaking down. Okay, there's an order. That's not saying a man, don't get me wrong, somebody close to you die, pass away, or certain situations to why you just, a man gonna break down from time to time. You might cry over something very, very serious. But for the most part, that's why the Lord built us like we did. We can bear a lot up on our shoulders. We the emotionally stronger vessel. When a man starts to break down and cry and get emotional like that in front of his woman, even if she don't want to, she's going to lose a certain level of respect for that man. Just like in the video we showed earlier. You can't do that. Okay, why you can't do that? Because the Lord designed us what? We supposed to cast that care on the Lord. Okay, we supposed to cry out to the Lord like that. That's our strength. As we read 1 Corinthians 11:3, the man is the head of the wife. Yahweh Shah is the head of the man. The father is the head of Yahweh Shah. Now, a woman could break down and cry on your shoulder. What? That's what we designed to do. Teach, lead, encourage her, feed her, wash her with the water of the word. We can build her up spiritually. Okay, but there's a certain level that's reserved for us as men. What? We have to cast that to our head, which is the Lord. So that's what this is talking about here. Let me read it one more time. Trust ye not in a friend. Put ye confidence not in a guide. Keep the doors of your mouth from her that lied in thy bosom. Okay? That's for you to totally, some things is only reserved for you in the Lord. All right, so we're going to go ahead and close it out there. Let me see if I got anything on this comment board. Okay, Jazzy Shalom. Sis J Shalom. All right, so I pray that this lesson was edifying. Till next time, we're going to say Shalom. We out.